My name's Joseph Spendlove, and today I'd like to tell you why you should vote to leave the European Union tomorrow. So, for those of you following my Facebook, you have seen I've already voted. I've done by postal vote, and I've already voted leave. Right. The reason why I personally feel like we should leave the European Union is for the biggest and the most controversial reason, which is, of course, immigration. Now, I've personally been to the British Embassy to try and help some of my friends come into the United Kingdom, and what you sense is, yes, it's not always easy for it to happen, and there's obviously guidelines they have to follow, but at the moment, because of the European Union, the island is at breaking point. So at the moment they're not having any or almost zero foreign people coming into the country, and for those of us who have partners that are not in the UK or outside the EU, it's almost impossible to bring these people back to the UK. And also remember, in the European Union, to be honest with you, I'm not racist or anything like that, but us, Germany, France, apart from those three countries, I think, people don't want to go anywhere else. So these three countries, and particularly ourselves, because we're so in demand, people really want to come to the UK more than anywhere else in the world, then we have to be in control of our borders. We share the decisions at the moment with all the countries in the EU, and as we know, most of the countries in the EU would like to also come to the UK. So not only have we got the global demand, we've also got the European demand trying to come to our country. And obviously, for those of you who have ever looked into visa or working abroad, things like that, the people in the EU, they have that freedom, which do we want? Okay, I've been out of the country 10 years. When I left Derby many years ago, yes, there was Polish, we have the massive Indian and Pakistan communities, which are inbuilt and I would say integrated. So I don't think that's the problem. But what I really think is the problem is we're not able to pick and choose who we allow into the country at the moment, because the demands of the European Union are so high. We have to almost take what we're told to by the EU, and then after that we've got no other we've got no other space to allow anybody to come in. So this is the single reason why I say to vote and leave the EU. And for all my British colleagues who've been living and working with me in Egypt, we've seen that side to the immigration story. But for those of you who live here in the UK, it's happening very slowly and very slightly. Since I came back from Egypt, I've noticed the cleaners here at David Lloyd. I'm at David Lloyd in Derby. The cleaners now are all Eastern European, and a lot of the staff are also Eastern European. I'm working in a Sky call centre at the moment, and you have all the people that work for the Sky actually on the telephones. They're all mainly British or people that were born here, and then all the service staff, so the cleaners, the people that work in the canteen, they're all Eastern European. And yes, I know about all the advantages of bringing in the extra tax and things like that, but what we're doing is we're breaking down actually being British. And I know that sounds slightly racist and a little bit like, how? But what you have to do is, you see these Eastern Europeans working in the country that don't integrate. This is the big thing. So if you're bringing somebody from outside Europe or outside the world and they're married to somebody who's British, naturally they integrate because they're part of a family, something like this. But when you get a congregation of people that are working within an organisation that are not British, they generally hang around with each other, they don't really speak English, and this is not integration. And unless we vote to leave the EU, this is going to happen more and more. And at the moment, it's hardly, it's hard to bring back the British values in certain cities in the UK. But if we keep on going, I'm from a village in Hatton, and at the moment we don't have any problems like that. But I can see our local takeaway, our local shop, our local co-op, we'll have Eastern Europeans or people that we've been forced to take into the country. And yes, it's fine for the bigger picture for the government and what we're doing with financial and things like that, but what it's breaking down is the traditions and being happy. So on the surface the numbers look fine, you know, the UK looks fine, but when you dig deeper, when you go underneath the fingernails of the country, you will start to find that these people are not integrated properly with our communities, and this is where the communities will break down and we'll get more extremism, etc, etc. So that was my plea to you, why you should vote Leave, and you should definitely vote, guys. Get out there tomorrow and put your X in the Leave the European Union. The other countries are so desperate to have us in, don't believe that we won't be allowed back in. Even if we went out and it was crazy for 2 years, they'd so let us back in. So please don't worry about that. It's definitely scaremongering saying that they won't let us back in. So vote Leave. Goodbye from Joseph from England. And hopefully a member of the UK and not the EU. Goodbye, guys.